Hi, so this week I'm talking about Hawthorne and his short stories from young Goodman Brown, um, and just focusing in specifically on the birthmark, the black veil, or the minister's black veil in young Goodman Brown. And something that's very prominent about all of Hawthorne's stories is they're very, very dark, um, in a way that's almost disturbing when you read them. But this is significant because his stories kind of touch at like the core of humanity. There is a darkness in humanity that I think we all know about, but we kind of tend to want to cover up with like goodness and happiness and like happy endings in our stories. But Hawthorne's stories don't have a happy ending. They wrestle with these really dark topics of like secrecy and deception and just deceit and sin and guilt, and perfection and imperfection. Really weighty topics, and he wrestles with the reality of the darkness of these topics, but he doesn't offer us a resolution. And he does it intentionally, I believe, because Hawthorne is always very intentional about what he does, and he's really places an emphasis and lets the reader know when something is significant. And so, by giving us stories, giving the reader stories that don't have these clean resolutions, but just causes the reader to sit and be in these like sort of wrestling with these darker ideas, I think is good for us to wrestle with that because it makes us confront the reality that there is darkness in this world and that there is evil in this world. Um, and especially pertaining to like the minister's black veil, the theme of hiding is very prominent in there, and I think that can relate to our lives. And like, if you just look at the congregation and the minister's black veil, they all look at Mr. Hooper as somebody um, who's sinful and who's just doing something wrong because he's hiding behind this dark veil. But Hooper kind of flips the question on the head and asks the congregation, well, what are you hiding behind? And he kind of confronts them that they're hiding behind like these good appearances that they have and like this lightness that they have. And I think it's very possible, especially in American culture, to hide behind lightness, like things, and put on this facade of like being good and being happy all the time. And that's just as much of a hiding as a black veil over one's face would be. And the reason that the veil over the face causes so much unrest to the congregation is that it's bringing out, it's enlightening them that there is this place that they're hiding, and they just don't want to confront it. And Mr. Hooper is the only one who actually does confront it. And I think that makes people so uncomfortable because it prods and pokes them at their core. Like you're hiding behind something and you don't want to admit it, but I'm aware of it. Is what Hooper's saying in that act. And it really causes the reader to question why would we hide? And I think Hawthorne wants to wrestle with this idea because we hide because there is sin in this world. And Hawthorne is very good about understanding original sin, especially in Calvinistic terms, but he is very aware of that, unlike Emerson, who kind of took the self-reliance of man and took it to the positive extreme. Like, yes, man is self-reliant. They're so good that he can do all this stuff by himself. Like, go him, which is great and encouraging. But there also has to be a balance between recognizing the potential of man to do good, but also the innate fallenness of man because we are sinful, and because we have original sin presiding in us. And that's what Hawthorne wrestles with, that tension a lot. And there is no clear resolution because if there were, that could be potentially become another hiding place for us to go behind, and to just take what Hawthorne says in his story and be like, oh, that's the resolution for every situation. If I don't want to hide behind sin, then I should do what Hawthorne does in his stories and do X, Y, and Z. But they're really, I don't even know if you could ever say there is an X, Y, and Z because this world is so vast and there's so many things that could happen. You just don't know. Um, so that's kind of what I thought about with Hawthorne and how it kind of related to us. So thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.